One of the biggest deciding factors on whether or not you add an all-in-one trainer like this Force USA C20 to your garage, your basement, your living room, wherever you're going to put it is, will the thing fit? And oftentimes the online measurements aren't enough. So lucky for you, I have a Force USA C20 right here. I've got a handy dandy tape measure, and we are going to measure every spec and measurement that I think will help you decide whether or not this will fit. Now, this is not a complete review. Look down in the description below, and I will have 2 links down there. Number 1, I will have a link to a full in-depth review of the Force USA C20, showing you more about this thing than you could ever want to know. That will help you decide whether or not it's the right machine for you. I will also have a link down there to Force USA directly. You can actually go to forceusa.com/GymCrafter. That will automatically populate a 10% off coupon to anything you want to buy on that site. So if you decide that this video helps you make that type of a decision, it's always helpful to me if you use those links, because that's what allows me to fly out to places like beautiful Draper, Utah, and get these measurements for you out of the Force USA showroom. So without further ado, let's get to the measurements. Since the specs online aren't as exact as we often need, I'm going to measure all the details that I think are going to be important to whether or not they're going to fit in your space. I'm going to actually use a tape measure instead of just relying on published specs, and I'm going to measure some of the little detail differences so that you know whether or not it'll fit. So let's start with one of the most important measurements for something like this, which is height. So when we take the tape measure, we measure overall height of the unit. There's a few different spots and heights on this unit. So the first height is going to be the total height to the top of this upright up here. It's not the overall height of the unit, but it is the height to the top of the upright. It's 86 inches. This is the most common height that you'll see in spec sheets, but it's not the overall height. If you look up here at the top, there's these 2 little pieces up here, and those are going to add 2 inches to the top of the machine. So you're really going to be to the top right here is 88 inches. So that's the top of the highest point on the machine, are these 2 little nubs up here, which is 88 inches. While 88 inches is the highest point on the fixed portion itself, these arms actually do go a little bit higher. So if you want to use this and fit it and be able to elevate these arms all the way up into their highest position like it is now, what you're going to see is that the top of this pulley is about 90¼ inches tall. So if you want to be able to use this functionally and use every part of this, you're going to want to leave probably about 91 inches in total height if you plan to be able to raise these all the way up. You can get yourself a couple of inches of wiggle room by going down to the measurement here, but that should tell you whether or not this will fit height-wise. Coming inside the unit, there's going to be another couple of measurements that are going to be important. I'm going to grab one more height measurement for you while I'm in here, and that's the upper portion of the Smith bar. Now the Smith bar goes nice and high. I'm 6'6" and can barely not walk under it, but if we look at the distance from the floor all the way up to the bottom of the Smith, you're looking at 75¾ inches. So if you're wondering how much clearance there is in here to move back and forth, you get 75¾ on the inside. As far as the distance up to the pull-up bars here in the front, another height distance that's important to people, up to the bottom of the pull-up bars is 84 inches. So 84 inches right to the bottom of this pull-up, whether you're using this multi-grip or whether you're using these dip handles as pull-up bars, it's going to be that measurement to the inside here. As far as width, once we're in here, so there's going to be 4 width measurements which are going to be important to people. The first one is inside to inside on the uprights. You are at 43 inches inside to inside. As far as outside to outside, you are 49 inches, and that's going to give us another important measurement that a lot of you are concerned with, which is the uprights. These are true 3" by 3" uprights. 1" holes, 2" spacing, and these are offset front to side, so they do stagger in position. So coming out to the side, there's a couple more measurements that are going to be important to you if this is going to be usable in your space. Don't rely on just how wide this is. You want to rely on not only how wide the bar is, but also how much room you need to allow on either side of the bar to load the plates. The Smith bar itself is 75 inches wide. If you were to use a standard barbell, you're looking at 84 to 86 inches long. And then you're also going to want to allow 18 to 24 inches to be able to get to the side of the bar to load a plate onto them. So when you add all those numbers up, like I am on screen right now, you can see the overall width requirement of the space that you're going to need to put this in. Now you'll only need that space towards the front of the unit, and when we get to measuring the side, I'll show you how far forward everything is from the back, so that if it needs to fit into a weird space, you'll know whether that works or not. But keep in mind that you always want to allow room around the machine to actually get to the plates back here to take them off the storage, and then also to safely load them onto the barbell. So that's the widths from the front and some of the heights. Let's move around to the side of the unit and we'll take a look at some measurements over here. Another important measurement is going to be depth, and there are several depth measurements you're going to want to be concerned with this and this. Now, first of all, one of the nice things about this is that if you decide to use the plate storage, it doesn't actually add depth. The back of these plates does not come out any further than there's a back foot down here that you can't see. When you measure from that back foot to the edge of the front foot, you are going to be 66 inches. So from the front of this front foot to the back of the back foot is 66 inches. The rear weights do not protrude further back. However, on the front, what you'll see is that there are some things that protrude off of the front. So if you're wondering how far forward you're gonna be able to pull vehicles and things like that, the spotter arms, if you leave them on the front, the spotter arms themselves are 20 inches deep from the back edge to the front edge. Nice size spotter arm as well. These arms themselves don't protrude out any further than that, but when they are in their fully forward position, these arms are going to come off just over 17 inches. So that should give you an idea of how much room depth-wise you need to fit this particular machine. So from the side, there are also a couple more nuanced height measurements. The pulleys back here, which you may not be able to see from this angle, are 86¼ tall to the top. And those are all the way at the very back edge of the unit. So if you've got an angled ceiling or something you're worried about, this is 86¼ at the back. And then right here, there are 2 pulleys on the side here, and those are 87 inches tall. So you're looking at an 87-inch height on either side. And then this pulley right here is roughly 28 inches from the back edge of the unit. So that should give you some idea, if you're trying to kind of sneak it in under an overhang or something like that, how tall each of these points is on the side. So coming inside the unit, there are a few depth measurements that people are concerned with to determine whether or not your particular bench is going to work inside of here. So let me give you those. So from the back of the unit right here, where you're going to hit something with your bench, to the Smith machine's about 32 inches. So you're going to want to know that your bench works within that measurement to wherever you want the Smith machine lined up for the movement that you're going to do, whether it's an incline bench, a flat bench, whatever it happens to be. From the same back of the unit to the front of the front upright is 47 inches. So that's going to give you that much depth from here. So this is a pretty deep rack as far as how much room you have to work with in here. Now there are a couple of shelves and things in here that may bump that out just a little bit more, but that's your usable space inside. Now I will tell you that there's also a removable foot plate for the low row. This is going to add 6 inches to the measurements that I just gave you. So if you want to leave that in, it's very easy to take out, but that's going to bump out another 6 inches from this back post out here, which I just measured from. So take that into account if you want to leave this in while you've got your bench inside here. Staying inside the rack, but coming back up top, there's one more measurement that's very important, especially if you're tall like myself, which is the measurement to this top pull point for your center mount pull down. So when you're looking at that, when you look at the distance to the cable attachment itself, it's going to measure almost as high as the rack is. So you've got 84 inches to where the ball is going to come out of the roller. However, what's going to happen is by the time you join these two together, add some carabiners, and then come down to a connection point, now we are at 77 inches to here, add a carabiner to your attachment, and you're probably looking at between 74 and 75 inches to any attachment that you connect to this particular supplied accessory. There are other accessories available that will get that bar higher up, but just so you know what you can do out of the box, 74 to 75 inches to any attachment, and that's going to determine whether you can sit on the floor or sit on a bench or whatever that happens to be. While we're looking at the cable attachments, let's come back around the side and we're going to take a look, a lot closer look at these cable arms and some of the cable travel lengths and the heights that you can get out of these. So let's take a closer look at some of the specific measurements to the cable trolley arm. Number one, when you've got it here, as I mentioned before, you can put it all the way up, and what that's going to get you, if you measure from the floor, the ball is coming out at 87 inches. Now, if we keep the trolley in its all the way upper position and we lower it down to here, that's going to lower that pull point to just over 69 inches to there. So that's your range at the topmost trolley position. If we put it down here at the bottom, if you leave the trolley arm all the way down, the pull point to where the ball actually comes out is 5 inches. This thing is as close to the floor as you can get. And if you lift the trolley arm all the way up in this bottom position, you've now raised it to 22 inches to where the cable actually comes out of the front. So there's your measurements, top and bottom, for what your range is, for any of you out there trying to figure out specific exercises. Now let's take a look. This is a 2-to-1 cable pull on the front here. So let's take a look at how much cable travel you have from the front of the arm out to the extent of it. So total cable travel out to the end of the pole is 68.5 inches. So that's how much cable travel you'll get from the front of this unit. Gives you plenty of room to get out in front and do any exercises that you might want to do. So there you go, guys. That's all of the measurements I could think that would matter of whether or not it will fit in your house. Now, I'm sure I missed one or two. One of the great things about Force USA as a company is I am actually in their Draper, Utah showroom. On the other side of the camera, on the other side of the wall over there, is their customer service department. This is their showroom where they have all of their products on display. So if you ever have a question on a specific measurement or a specific detail that I don't cover in either my review or this video, make sure and give them a call. They can jump over here with the tape measure and measure it for you. They are super helpful. That's one of the great reasons to buy from Force USA is they're actually a company, while it's not manufactured in the US, it is based in the US, and all of the staff that you will talk to is right here in this building, which is a great advantage of shopping with them. Speaking of shopping with them, if you feel like this video helped you at all in making your decision to buy something from Force, it is greatly appreciated if you use my affiliate link down below. You can either click the link directly down below to the C20, or you can go to forceusa.com/GymCrafter. That will automatically populate a 10% coupon to your cart and save you a ton of money. So that helps you, that helps me, that helps Force USA. And yeah, so that's all I've got for this video. Until the next time you tune in for a podcast or a measurement or an assembly or whatever you tune in here for, I'm Tim with GymCrafter.